Our speaker today is delighted to present an introduction to Buddha Cara. Cara White is a counselor in residence with a therapy practice here at the fellowship. She is also the director. Oh, this is wonderful. This is how we know her. Through the Inner Light Playback Theater that creates artful, meaningful, improvisational shows that honor true life experiences from audience members. Audience members are invited to participate in the impromptu creating of these plays, improv theater. And they're looking for more actors. This is your opening. No experience is necessary, just dedication and a compassionate state of mind. And there will also be a new teen Inner Light Playback Theater starting soon. See, Tara is just beaming and overflowing with creativity. Her energy is great. If you know any teenagers who may be interested, let Tara know that such an opportunity is available to them. She has 20 years experience with playback theater. She's received a master's in transpersonal studies from Atlantic University and her master's in counseling from Old Dominion University. Now, here is Cara White speaking on Buddha Cara. She's going to share the light with us.
It's an absolute honor to be with you all today. This sacred place has always attracted the most beautiful, kind, peaceful souls. I love and adore this community here at the Fellowship of Inner Light. Words cannot express my gratitude to all of those who work together so beautifully to create this healing, uplifting sanctuary. Let's take a few moments and think of times when someone really deeply comforted you. Someone who was there for you when you desperately needed them mentally, emotionally, or physically. Remember how good it felt. How wonderful it was to know that someone generously, compassionately was there for you when you were sorely troubled or in need. No one could comfort you like they could. You knew you were loved unconditionally. There was nothing you could do or say that would alter their genuine caring and thorough acceptance of you. You could safely share your deepest secrets and woes to a kind, humble, listening, patient ear. People who exhibit these qualities hold an enormous capacity to send waves of love, soothing and healing to the hearts, souls, and minds of others. These qualities are often attributed to the archetypal mother. People who exhibit these heartfelt abilities can be male or female, from the most stereotypically masculine to utterly feminine. These motherly figures are happy to give whatever they can to the ones they love and are always ready to jump to immediate action to protect them. Tibetan Buddhists have a collective mother, the mother of all Buddhas, who loves them in just this way. In fact, she loves everyone, everywhere, with omnipotent, all-powerful, unsurpassed compassion that only a supernatural being can possess. Since Tibetan Buddhists believe that the purest, highest compassion is the utmost key to enlightenment, they strive to be like this Mother of all Buddhas, she who is the goddess of compassion. They carefully, mindfully attune themselves to her in visualizations and meditations in order to be as loving, as helpful, and as wise as she. Wisdom is knowing how to be as helpful to others as possible and acting on it. Being a Buddha, she has unlimited supernatural ability, using it in eternal servitude for the benefit of all sentient beings. Therefore, Tibetan Buddhists can confidently call on her in times of need with great trust. They sing, they dance, they recite praises to her in gratitude and reverence. They specify 21 ways in which she protects and blesses them. They honor her and connect with her with sacred chants, holy rituals, and heartfelt offerings on a daily basis. They have beautiful statues, tankas, mandalas, and temples in honor of this great green goddess of compassion. They have images which serve to remind themselves to be perfect in heart like her. They love this goddess dearly with great fondness and gratitude. This ever-present, comforting, giving, motherly figure is the divine feminine Buddha, equal to any Buddha in male form. Her titles are the Goddess of Compassion, the Savioress, the Rescuer, the Liberator, and the Mother of all Buddhas. And this much beloved goddess, vital to Tibetan Buddhism, has a name. And her name is Cara. How did Tara become the first female Buddha? The main information about Tara was brought to Tibet by Atisa in the year 1042. He is considered the most instrumental person in developing Buddhism in Tibet. Atisa's life was filled with visions of Tara. It was she who persuaded him to go to Tibet despite his advanced age. He translated ancient texts of Tara, including this story of her origin. Eons and eons ago, in a universe far, far away, there was a young princess, only 16 years old, and her name was Yeshi Dawa, which means Wisdom Moon. Wisdom Moon dismissed the widespread belief that only men could become Buddhas. She did not accept the suggestion to incarnate as a man in order to attain the state of perfect enlightenment. She said, there are many that vow to become enlightened in a male form, but few in a female form. So Wisdom Moon rejected her royal life and vowed to reach enlightenment and bodhisattvahood, returning again and again and again in a woman's form until all sentient beings were free from suffering. Each day she would save millions of souls after breakfast, millions more after lunch, and even more millions after dinner. This magnificent young teenage girl, through tenacity and perseverance of the highest standard, unerring in her diligence to always be of the highest assistance toward liberation and enlightenment for others, became the first female Buddha. Tara, Buddha Tara. Tara means star, and to liberate in Sanskrit. Yeshidawa became Tara. The liberator, the savioress. A Buddha is not the creator of the universe, which is formless. A Buddha is an enlightened being. Enlightened beings have dedicated their complete consciousness and involvement in all realms of existence, past, present, and future, for the benefit of all sentient beings, to help to remove all suffering until there is no more. The mastery of this constant, unwavering vigil of the highest intention for good and its application manifests them into limitless, all-powerful, helpful deities whose abilities stretch across universes. The ultimate goal of Tibetan Buddhism is to become enlightened beings, to be as helpful and instrumental as possible in the achievement of perfect peace and realization for all sentient beings everywhere. Therefore, developing pure compassion is of the utmost, unparalleled importance to a practitioner of Tibetan Buddhism. This makes Buddha Tara, the goddess of compassion, a very popular deity worshipped by millions. However, all Buddhas are equally compassionate, expressing it in different forms and with wisdom that covers a vast spectrum of holy and noble attributes. What is the meaning of Tara's image, and what are her attributes? Buddhas have two types of bodies. One is formless, the Dharmakaya body, the various attributes within the omnipotent mind of the Buddha that is used to create the Rupakaya, or form body. Tara's Rupakaya, or form body, is positioned with a perfect balance of absolute serenity while in a ready-to-act meditative mode. Her right foot is outstretched, ever ready to immediately step out into the world to assist us when called. Her left leg remains tucked in meditative pose, reminding us that we too can be in the world assisting others aware of suffering, yet maintaining our peaceful state. Her right hand is outstretched, eternally giving with sublime generosity. At her heart, her left hand is in the three jewels of Buddhism position. The ring finger touches the thumb, with the three remaining fingers stretching upward, representing Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. The word Buddha means all Buddhas, not only the historical holy Buddha Siddhartha. The Dharma is the enlightening teachings of Buddha. Sangha is the community of all people who are consciously developing toward Buddhahood. Her arms gently hold stems of utalapa flowers, or the blue lotus, in its three stages. The open flower represents Buddhas from the past. The blossoming flower represents Buddhas in the present, and the bud represents Buddhas in the future. Her divinely tranquil, smiling face emanates soothing, unconditional love, healing, and acceptance to all who gaze upon her. How do people meditate upon Tara? First, let's emphasize a statement by Tibetan Buddhist nun Thubten Sodron in her book, How to Free Your Mind, the Practice of Tara the Liberator. She says, to do the Tara practice, certain requirements are necessary. Practitioners should consult a qualified teacher of Tibetan Buddhism. Chodron then describes the purpose of following a Tara sadhana. A sadhana is a text of guided meditation. Visualizing Tara and contemplating the symbolisms of her body help us to cultivate respect for virtuous qualities and inspire us to develop these qualities ourselves. The purpose of doing the Tara practice is not to worship Tara. Tara is a fully enlightened being. She doesn't need our worship or offerings. We don't do these practices for the sake of the enlightened beings, to win their favor or soothe their wrath. As a Buddha, Tara is free from ego needs and only experiences infinite bliss. Rather, bowing, making offerings, reciting mantra, and so on generates special feelings within our own mind. We do these practices in order to transform our attitude so that we can develop the same enlightening qualities as Tara. The purpose of meditating on Tara isn't to feel good by worshiping an external deity. The ultimate purpose of showing respect and praising Tara's qualities is to provoke us. to have these same qualities. How can I develop those same qualities? How can I transform my mind to become more like Cara? Her image acts as a mirror for us to examine ourselves and to contemplate how we can approach others with an open hand and kind heart. What attitudes and emotions do we need to develop so that we will have a more open attitude towards others and can approach them with more acceptance, respect, and affection? What are some small things that we can do in our lives that would indicate these attitudes and emotions? How do we bridge the gap between a simple act of helping someone in our daily life and Tara's ability to make infinite manifestations throughout all universes? We must progress gradually and consistently. Chodron then states that sadhanas, with their visualization practices and mantras, contain with them the entire meaning of the gradual path to enlightenment. End of quote. How does Tara liberate? She has 21 forms, each indicating the various gifts or fierce protections that she bestows. The primary form of Tara is green Tara. Goddess Tara herself is green, not one of the earth tones given to human skin color. She is a vibrant emerald green, appropriately the color of the heart chakra. Green Tara is the whole of all the Taras, exhibiting all the qualities of the 21 Taras and more. She is the swift rescuer, instantly appearing when called upon, able to achieve or do anything, answering all noble requests. Her seed syllable is Tam, a Sanskrit letter that represents a deity and by which a deity may be called upon. I'm wearing a necklace with the Tam seed syllable. It has a white stone because Tara's stone is the diamond. This leads us to the very popular Tara mantra. No, there are many different attempts to define the ineffably profound meaning of Om, but here I will choose eternal truth. This powerful, extraordinary mantra is Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So Ha, meaning eternal truth. Tara liberates, so it is. Chanting the Tara mantra, particularly 108 times each day, with pure intention, liberates one from all obstacles to enlightenment. There are musical CDs and videos of Tara chants, songs and praises performed not only by monks and nuns, but also by professional musicians offering many beautiful variations. Of Tara's 21 manifestations, her best known and most widely practiced form is White Tara, the goddess of healing, longevity, and wish fulfillment. A common depiction of the 21 Tara forms shows her to be the only one with 7 eyes. She has an eye in the middle of her forehead, one in each palm, and one in each of the soles of her feet. Seeing many truths simultaneously with her 7 eyes in all the different realms, she effortlessly performs miracles, especially for longevity. According to a main version of the 21 Taras, she is also the only one who does not have an outstretched right foot, ready to step out to save. Instead, her legs and feet are in lotus position, indicating the internal unseen, subtle qualities of the healing arts. She is called upon for all types of healing, physical, mental, and spiritual, and as an aid in the death and dying process and beyond. Millions of Buddhists chant her mantra daily to ensure health and longevity for themselves and others. Her mantra is Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Mama Ayupani Jana Pushkam Kuru Soha. It means eternal truth, Tara liberates and increases my life with merit and wisdom. So it is. You may replace the word mama, which means me, with the person of your choice of whom you wish to be healed. The white Tara sadhana is also widely practiced by monks, nuns, and practitioners in honor and appreciation for their teachers, so that they may live long to help enlighten even more people in the earth. The other Taras are less practiced, but they are still revered and equally important. They are probably less known because green Tara is accumulation of all the other manifestations and possesses all of their abilities. However, they offer more focused aid for specific issues. These red, blue, black, white, and yellow forms include additional peaceful Taras, bestowing various noble attributes and wish fulfillments to increase happiness. And some are wrathful Taras who righteously, fiercely defend against all evils and obstacles along one's path. Now, some of you may have noticed that I was just talking about a goddess named White Tara, and that my name happens to be Tara White. So this is a good place as any to stop and tell you a little bit about myself in relation to my own Tara practice. I was born Tara White to non-Buddhist parents, whom I'm sure never heard of the goddess White Tara. It was under unusual circumstances that I attained my last name from someone who wasn't my real father and who was rarely present in my life. And it was he that came up with my first name by lying down and closing his eyes. My mother said he opened his eyes suddenly and said, "I got it, I know her name." Everyone thought he was inspired by Gone with the Wind. However, since the Tara practice was introduced to me this month last year by my new beloved teachers, the amazingly wonderful Jacqueline and Rickson Zavaletto, here at the Fellowship Center, where beautiful things always happen, I am now convinced that my name is indicative of having practiced the White Tara practice before this lifetime. My name bears similarity to a spiritual philosophy and discipline that joyously feels like home. I'm certain I've loved the Tara teachings, especially those of White Tara, in past lives as well as this one. And there are many stories of how Tara and White Tara would pop up in my life, and one especially is when I was so excited to come to Virginia Beach. I had heard about the ARE and the Edgar Cayce readings, and I couldn't wait. I just heard, I'm like, I've got to go to that school there. So I moved down, and it was early 90s in the fall, and I ran up the steps, and what did I see but this banner that said, over the entrance, that said, White Tara, Tibetan meditation, goddess of what? And it was a week-long conference, and a friend gave me all the tapes from the week, and I listened, and I would just swoon listening to the tapes, and I loved it so much. But I was there to study the Cayce readings. And I thought, someday. But I was especially thrilled with the yoga of dreaming, and that became a big part of my life, and read lots of books on the philosophy and Dzogchen of Tibetan Buddhism. How does Tara fit with my lifelong zeal and belief in Christ consciousness? They are simply two straight paths going in the same direction. Both are in some ways very much the same, and in some ways very different. But both have the determination to become an enlightened being, an ultimate force of good and the application thereof. However, I had some trepidation. Was I taking away something from my love of Jesus? This I have against thee, that you have left your first love, was on my mind. I have crossed paths with Tibetan Buddhist philosophy before, and each time I was exhilarated and inspired, especially by the yoga of dreaming. And each time I chose not to pursue it because I already had a prayerful and meditative life, and I was in love with Jesus, and I still am in love with Jesus. My trepidation was immediately released last month when I had a dream with a classic, age-old message. My teacher suggested I try calling upon Cara in a dream. I prayed to do just that. So I'm dreaming one morning and start to realize that I'm dreaming. Instead of Tara, I decide to look for Jesus like I have so many times before. I am running by a small street and I see an Asian woman looking at me. Although I'm taken by the incredibly sweet, kind look on her face, I must keep running to find Jesus before the dream ends and I wake up. I start to realize my absurd mistake that Jesus is in everyone. When a light appears, within the light is a dark figure. Fully realizing that Jesus doesn't have to look like Jesus to be Jesus, I run toward the indistinguishable blackness with open arms. It is a woman, a tall, thin African woman on an African plain. I hug her saying, "Jesus, Jesus, I love you so much," over and over. She's politely accepting, but not so interested in my show of affection, as she is watching over many struggling, maybe starving people. End of dream. This dream happily has a similar sentimentality to a wonderful film called The Shack. I no longer have any trouble blending my newfound attunement to the Buddhist divine feminine with my love of Christ consciousness. In fact, it is only making me more whole. The African woman's loving indifference to me was indicating the priority of taking action to help others and not just by kind sentiments. I've always believed in the quality of all religions, like the interfaith community in this room. However, I had never been fully interfaith myself until I met Cara. Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. 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 Om Tare. Thank you all so much for listening today. I'll be leading a white Tara chanting healing prayer session here at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays. Let's end by saying the celebratory Om Tare! Om Tare!